By the time your company says the word redundancy out loud, the decision is already made. The list exists, the roles have been chosen, and if your name is on it, it was put there weeks, sometimes months, before anyone told you. Here's what nobody wants to admit. Redundancy is almost never sudden. Long before the announcement, a company leaves a trail of quiet signals, small changes in your workload, your meetings, your manager's tone, that say your role is being prepared for removal. Most people miss every one of them. They tell themselves it's just a quiet patch, a reorganisation, nothing to worry about. And then the letter lands, and they're blindsided, scrambling in the worst possible position, with no plan and no time. But the people who read the signs early, they're the ones who leave with a better package, a new job already lined up, and their dignity intact. In this video, I'll show you 8 quiet signs that a UK company is getting ready to make you redundant, what each one really means, and what to do the moment you notice it. None of them is proof on its own, but when they start stacking up, believe them. Let's start with the one almost everyone explains away.
Sign 1. Your workload quietly dries up. It doesn't happen all at once. A project gets handed to someone else to balance the load. A client you used to own is quietly reassigned. The interesting work thins out, and what's left is the kind of task that wouldn't matter much if it were late. It feels like a break. It isn't. When a company is preparing to remove a role, it de-risks the exit first. It makes sure nothing important depends on you, so that the day you're gone, nothing breaks. If you feel like you're slowly being made optional, that's not in your head. That's the groundwork. What to do? Don't fill the silence by frantically begging for more work. It rarely changes anything, and it shows your hand. Use the quiet instead. You suddenly have time you didn't have before. Put it into your CV, your network, and lining up your next move while you're still employed and still being paid.
Sign 2. Suddenly, everything has to be documented. For months, how you do your job lived in your head. Then, almost overnight, you're asked to write process notes, create a handover document, just so we're not too reliant on one person. Maybe you're asked to train someone or bring a junior up to speed on your accounts. On the surface, it's good practice. Underneath, it's knowledge transfer. The company making sure your role can run without you, before it removes you. What to do? Do it. Refusing only flags you. But notice the timing, and quietly keep your own record at the same time. What you actually do, the results you've delivered, the things only you know. You'll want those receipts.
Sign 3. A restructure, hiring freeze, or strategic review appears. Something shifts above your head. A reorganisation, a budget or hiring freeze, a consultancy brought in to review the operating model, a new leader who wants to right-size the team. Here's the uncomfortable truth. A lot of redundancies aren't about your performance at all. They're about maths and structure, decided 2 or 3 levels up. A budget shortfall picks its targets long before anyone underperforms. So you can be genuinely excellent and still end up on a list because the decision was never about you. What to do? When the structure shifts, take it seriously straight away. That's your cue to update everything and treat your search as real. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because competence doesn't protect you from a spreadsheet.
Sign 4. You're quietly cut out of the future. The meetings you used to be in start happening without you. Plans get made for next quarter, next year, the new project,
and you hear about them after the fact, if at all. Nobody's hostile. You're just not in the room anymore. There's a simple reason a company stops reading you into future plans. There's no point briefing someone on a future they won't be part of. Being left out of what comes next is one of the clearest signals that in someone's mind, you're already gone. What to do? Don't chase the invitations. Read it for what it is, and quietly work out who in the building still genuinely backs you, because those are the relationships and the references you'll want to protect on the way out.
Sign 5. A new face appears to look at efficiency. A consultant, a transformation lead, a new manager who keeps using words like streamline, synergies, and ways of working. They book time with everyone, ask a lot of questions about what each person does all day, and take a lot of notes. Sometimes that's genuine improvement, but very often an outside reviewer mapping who does what is the first step in deciding which roles overlap and which ones don't need to exist. What to do? Be helpful and professional, but be precise about your value. When you describe your work, frame it in terms of business impact and the things that would break without you, not just a list of tasks. Serious. Tasks can be merged. Outcomes are harder to delete. Sign 6. The story starts changing. Listen to the language at the top. The business is evolving. We're changing direction. We need to focus on our core priorities. Your team's remit quietly narrows. The thing you specialise in stops being mentioned in the strategy. This is the narrative groundwork. Before a company removes roles, it builds a story that makes those roles sound like yesterday's priority, so that when they go, it feels logical rather than personal. What to do? Pay attention to where you sit in the new story. If your area keeps getting described in the past tense, that's information. Start positioning your skills toward where the business says it's going. Internally, if there's a path, externally, if there isn't. Sign 7. Your one-to-ones go cold and everything moves to writing. The easy, casual chats with your manager change. They get shorter and more careful, or they start getting cancelled and never rescheduled. And the feedback that used to come as a quick word in passing now arrives as an email. Just recapping what we discussed. Both versions mean the same thing. A manager building a case keeps things tight and on the record. A manager who's already made peace with letting you go often can't sit across from you comfortably, so they avoid you instead. What to do? Don't try to win the warmth back with extra effort. Match the paper trail with your own. Keep dated notes of what's said and asked, and save the praise you've had, not just the criticism. You're building your copy of the same file they're building. Sign 8. They float voluntary redundancy or an enhanced package. This is the loudest of the quiet signs. An email goes round inviting expressions of interest in voluntary redundancy, or someone mentions, casually, that enhanced terms might be available if anyone's thinking of moving on. When a company opens voluntary redundancy, it has already decided the headcount has to come down. They're hoping enough people leave willingly so they don't have to force it. And if not enough volunteer, compulsory redundancies usually follow, from the same pool they were always looking at. What to do? Don't dismiss it, and don't panic accept it. Treat it as confirmation, and get informed fast, because once you're in this territory, the process and your rights matter more than ever. You're entitled to a genuine consultation, to know how the selection pool and scoring were decided, and to be told about suitable alternative roles. Statutory redundancy pay is based on your age, length of service, and weekly pay,
verify current figures and cap on gov.uk. And if you're offered a settlement agreement, it isn't legally binding until you've taken independent legal advice, which your employer usually contributes to. So never sign in the room, and never sign in a panic.
Here's the thing about all 8. On their own, any one of them is explainable. A quiet week, a reorg, a cancelled catch-up. That's exactly why people miss them. Each one alone looks like nothing. It's when they start stacking up that they stop being coincidence and start being a pattern. So stop asking the question that keeps you stuck. Am I safe? Because you'll never get an honest answer to that from the people deciding. Ask the better one. Am I ready? Ready means your CV is current, your network is warm, your receipts are saved, and you know your rights before any letter arrives. Because the people who get blindsided aren't the ones the signs came for, they're the ones who saw them and explained them away.